and we'll talk about data services now, right? So if you look at the SAP data services, so earlier it is called as data integrator and data quality, right? It got a little history, so let me start with the business objects. So business objects is an independent organization, and it was doing very well because of its unique features and the best properties it has. So the presence of business objects in the market was identified by an online survey portal called Gartner, and it gave a good light, or it brought the business objects into light, and then many companies identified business objects, and at that time business objects was an independent organization, and after that SAP acquired it with the condition that SAP, all the future enhancements and the current tools of business objects will be named after SAP, and so that is the reason you see something like SAP business objects, right? So if you look at the business objects, this business objects is again divided into two sections. One is business objects enterprise, which is nothing but the Universe Designer, the Crystal, the Webby, Desky, Excelsius, and all these reporting flavors and semantic layer that we get into. And the second one is business objects data services. So we'll be looking at the ETL part. ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading, and we'll be looking on the ETL part in this training program of which is called as data services. So there are different versions of this one in which the tool is called. So people call it as BODI or DI or BOXI, data integrator. So all these different versions, I'll just give you a clarity on that. So BO stands for business objects, XI stands for the 11th release, and after that we have versions called R1, R2, R3, which is like release 2, release 3, and so on. And then the tool came into picture, which is data services. Right now it is called as data integrator and data quality in the past, because there are two different physical systems. One is data integrator system and the second one is data quality system, and the combined solution of these two systems is called data services. So if you look at any job description, they are asking about data integrators or SAP BODI or BODS or data integrator or anything. They are just talking about one and the same tool, that is our data services. So data services has different versions. So the first version is in Q1 of 2008, which is 3.0, and after that there are multiple bugs in the tool. So I will show them to you as a part of the training. You have to use one transformation, no matter you need that or not, but you just need to use it in order for the job to execute. So that is a bug that was fixed in the version 3.2. So small enhancements were done from version 3.0 to 3.2. Let us say a function is written in 3.0, you cannot go and modify that function in data services version 3.0, but in version 3.2 you get an option to go and modify that function and do changes on that one. So these kind of small enhancements were there in the version 3.2, and after that version 4.0 came into picture. Even though business objects, enterprise, and data services are part of the business objects box, so there is no quite interaction between them. But now from business objects 4.x version, they made it tightly integrated, right? So they have a central management console which administers both business objects, enterprise, and also the data services part. And in the versions 4.0, 4.1, and 4.2, 4.2 is the latest version with Service Pack 3, I guess. So that's the latest one that is going on. So these are the different versions of data services, and before we get into the demo, let us see why we should learn data services, because this is the question that I had for myself 6 years before. Why data services for me right now? Because I was an SAP BI consultant way back then. So keep in mind about the evolving market situations, right? Data services is doing really good. And apart from that, if you look at SAP HANA, SAP itself is promoting data services as a free application if someone goes for SAP HANA. And one more thing is data services is the only tool which loads SAP and non-SAP data into the SAP HANA system, right? So this is one good promotion for data services, and data services is got wonderful flexibility. You can do anything within data services, and if you look at the current roadmap of SAP, 15,000 existing customers just in US who are an SAP BI are migrating to SAP HANA, and data services is their migration tool. So there is a big scope for data services. It can interact with SAP systems, it can interact with non-SAP systems, it can interact with web services, flat file data. So there is no a particular limitation which says that, okay, this is my source, this is my target, then only data services will work. Nothing like that. It will work for any source, any target, and it will do the data migration from source to target. So let us go and look at the presentation. That's a little history about the data services. So this data services, it falls under the Enterprise Information Management EIM category, and these are the different tools that are displayed here. One is data integrator, data quality. So earlier there used to be two different physical machines, literally physical machines, one for data integrator and one for the data quality system. So you first need to log into the integrator system, work on that, take the entire data, dump it on the quality system, do a quality check on the data, and if anything is wrong, pull it back to the integrator system, do validations or do cross checks on the data, do conversions, and again send it back to the quality system, and if it is fine, then load it into the target. So that is how the old mechanism works. But now in the current system, which is data services, both data integrator and data quality are present as a combined solution, right? So there are different platforms right now like BI and all those things, and different intelligence that are present in the market. So why we need something like enterprise information management, right? So if you look at the current world's trend in today's world, so the growth of the companies has become huge. So overnight a company, to sustain, it will go and acquire another company, or all the small fishes will merge into all the small fish will merge into one big giant and try to establish their business, or big companies go and acquire the small companies. So in all this process, if you go and look at the data volume at the back end, it gets double and triple overnight, right? So huge data volumes and multiple data information sources. So if you look at company A acquiring company B, so let us say company A has Oracle data as a backend database and company B has SAP as a backend database, right? So there is a huge difference in the nature of the data itself. So, and the information is present on two different systems. Now it becomes quite difficult for them to do a consolidation or and ad hoc reporting. So disparate data sources causes the data redundancy. One good reason is generally acquisitions or mergers happen when they are in the same business, and if you look at the same business, they can have a common vendor, right? So they can have common vendors who supply them raw materials. So I have the same information present in my system A and system B, and somebody should go and cross-check that one manually. So we need some system which does that activity. So data redundancy is there, inconsistency is there, and Oracle got its own functionality limitations, and so is SAP. So we cannot say this function in Oracle will go and work with this function of SAP. So there is a cross limitation and cross-functional analysis between both the systems. And it will be difficult if your data is present in two different systems. It will be difficult for you to take the business decisions, right? And you'll spend a lot of time to look at the data and validate it, run some reports on that, and still it is not your trusted information, and you spend a lot of time doing a reconciliation activity. So the core initiative of EIM is to clean the data and provide the trusted information which is required for the tactical business decisions. Right, so what are the barriers for trusted information in current today's world in the projects? So this is one of the statistics that is taken from the current project. So 75% of the business decisions that you take is wrong because you don't have the right data foundation which will allow you to take a right decision, or you don't have a right foundation of data available with you to say, okay, this is my decision or this is my report on the data, right? And always you get is 10% accurate data and remaining 90% is to be cleansed, or you should go through a lot of process to ensure that the remaining 90% is good. And we spend 30% of the project time doing a reconciliation activity, which means you have 4 different sources, A, B, C, D, from which you are pulling the data and trying to do a merge. Then you need to take care of the duplicates, you need to take care of the consistency in the data, you need to convert all the 4 systems into a common standard format. So, and you need to take the count of the records that you pulled in from each source and compare that with the target and ensure that the right records are picked and placed in the target. Right? You spend 30% of the time verifying what you have done. Right? So that is a lot of time that we spend in the project. So lack of integration and data quality, it is difficult for us to do extraction, transformation, and loading between different sources, and data cleaning and quality varies from one system to another. So let us say if I have a material number in Oracle system and its character is, length of that particular field is varchar 10, the same in SAP system can be different, right? So I cannot just say that, okay, this is a common rule across both the systems. So the solution that enterprise information management is giving is it tries to bridge the gap between the business intelligence and the performance management needs. So the technology and the business needs are, the gap between them is lessened, and they're trying to improve the interaction between the technology and the business needs here. The enterprise information management tools, so if you look at this, supports and fulfills the need, which means you get a solid information from all these different sources. So integration between all the sources, extracting the data, consolidating them, and giving you a solid information foundation, the system itself will take care. So information combined from various sources, consistency, business definition, timely information, and data quality. Right? So all these things are addressed as a part of the EIM tools. So the solution that EIM is trying to provide here is trust, simplicity, and properly aligned data. So these are the different tools here: the Crystal, Business Object Universe, Integrator, Federator, and Data Quality. So Crystal is highly formatted reporting, also called as traditional reporting, and Universe is a semantic layer which is quite flexible in terms of adding up multiple sources and creating semantic structures on top of which the reports are created. Now this is a bird view of what we generally do using data services, right? So I have different types of sources. One is my multi-dimensional structure, and then next one is my semi-multi-dimensional structure. Then I have something like a database table, a 2-dimensional. Then I have the data in the form of a flat file, and then in the form of a World Wide Web. So no limitations, data services will go and connect to any type of source. So let it be a web service, a hyperlink, a notepad, a .txt file, a .xls file, and an SAP BI Cube, an SAP ECC system, Oracle system, DB2 system. So there is no limitation, even SAP HANA system. So it goes and connects to any of the sources. It pulls the data into that one, and then it actually converts all these data sets into a single metadata set. Now if you look at this, the nature of its source is not present here anymore. So the data from this, and all these systems are pulled in and it is converted into a single metadata set where uh, the target system will understand that the data is coming from a single source even though it is coming from the multiple sources. So that is the feature of the data federator. It tries to pull the data from multiple sources and try to project it to the target system or to the next system as it is coming in from a single source. So along with that, you can do a data lineage and impact analysis. So whenever you have to do a change on the source, so you will go and cross-check the impact that will be present on the target, and vice versa, you check from the target to source. So an ETL tool which will allow you to explore multiple sources, transform the metadata as well as the data, and move data to anywhere, which means it can be a business enterprise for reporting, or it can be a HANA system as a target, an SAP system as a target, a database Oracle system as a target. So no matter what, no restriction, you can move the data from any source to any target, and again at any frequency. So if you look at the projects, though they are categorized into two segments. One is an SME, which is a small and medium enterprise, and the second one is an LE, a large enterprise. So these categorizations are done based on the volume of data that is present for you to migrate. So if it is less than a TB or 10 TB, then you call it as, I mean, it also depends on the number of modules that are present in that project. So you call it as a small and medium enterprise, and if it is more than 5 TB, you call it as a large enterprise, right? So based on the volume of data that you need to migrate from one source to other target, you kind of categorize them. And as part of my experience, I have seen data services loading 10 records from the .txt file I created in the very initial days and loaded into a SQL database table. And at the same time, in one of the world's biggest data migration project where I worked with SAP, it pulled 100 million records from basis tables, BSEC tables, BKPF tables of SAP, and then it loaded them into the target system. So the tool is quite flexible. The more the RAM you have on the system, the faster the data services will work. So it is a direct proportional formula. You need to have more RAM because data services will not work on any of the backend databases. It is not going to save even a single record. It works directly on your system cache, which is nothing but the RAM you have on your system. Right? So this is my bird view on which data services work. It can pick data from any source and then combine that into a single data set. So now on data services front, not only you go and manipulate the data, you apply the business rules, but also you can do changes on the data types and their lengths and also the column names, which means you can manipulate the metadata as well. So it delivers the trusted information because it does an end-to-end impact analysis, it does source data lineage, and data quality. It acts like a firewall, preventing the bad data getting into the system. It does all the activities like profiling, validation, auditing, and cleansing, right? And the second important point is it maximizes the developer productivity because it got a single sign-on. Not just a single sign-on, because I've worked with different tools in my past and even I keep exploring different tools. But the difference I see in data services is even though you have multiple tools like you have a server manager, a repository manager, management console, central repositories and all these things. So all of them are so tightly integrated that you just feel like you're working on a single window. It maximizes the developer's productivity because it got a single interface to design, and it got wonderful, beautiful administration tools to do the deployment or to manage, and extreme ETL scalabilities. So it got very unique features. There's no need for you to wait till one job is done. You have to trigger the other job. No, you can trigger multiple jobs simultaneously based on, again, it is directly proportional to your system configs, right? So parallel and intelligent distribution processing. So this is one of the beautiful features of data services. So there is something called a job server group, which bundles 3 to 4 job servers or more than one job server that is coming in from different systems. And whenever you execute a job, the system will decide which job server will take this job, right? It goes to the bundle, and then uh, it will pick the most idle job server, distribute the work. It starts working. You immediately execute another job. It goes and picks the next most idle job server. It distributes the job onto that. So parallel and intelligent distribution processing is a DNA of the tool, and it is built on a server-based architecture. So it is service-oriented architecture, which says that delivering the right data to the right person in the right time, right? So uh, it's based on that architecture. So it got very good features, and it got powerful pre-built transformations. So there is no much of coding that you need to do in data services. Just other than the fundamentals of SQL. If you know if then else, if you know decode, then you can just master the tool, right? There is no need for you to do a lengthy coding and something like that, because everything is provided to you in the form of pre-built transformations, built-in transformations. Now, what a data quality is and what data quality can do. So if you look at the data and if you understand that, okay, this data is talking to me something or is telling me a story, then uh, it's really good, because I work with one of the guys from Business Objects directly, who is one of the key research guy in the data quality front. So he says one thing, that if you feel that the data is talking to you, the data quality is good. So I really did not understand that, but if you go and look at the data, right, so let us take materials information. So if you have the material number, the name, the type of the material, from which plant it is procured, what is the MRP type, where distribution list it is stored, and in what unit of measures it is measured, and all the things right from starting to end. If you have this complete information, you say it's telling you a story. But if I have bits and pieces of that information with me, then it is not complete, which means the quality of the data is not good, right? So it should tell, it should make you understand the usage and relationship of the data, where it comes from and how it is defined. Then you say the data quality is good. If not, you say the data has very bad quality. So importance of data quality, why we need that, right? So it gives you a greater confidence when you're trying to do some ad hocs or some analytical reports and just on the go, if you want to check the consistency of your data, or if you want to check some sales values for the quarters, for the last quarter or for the current quarter, and if you don't have the quality data that is present in the back end, you will not be able to have any confidence on the reports that you are generating. And you spend less time doing a reconciliation activity, because earlier I was telling that we spend 30% of the project time doing a reconciliation activity. But if data quality is present, you don't spend that time doing a reconciliation activity, and you get a single version of truth from all multiple sources, and you can increase the customer satisfaction and reduce the cost in terms of shipping, logistics, manpower, resources. You can do a lot of reductions. And typical data quality problems are your content is bad, your data is inconsistent, and error in the migration. Without checking the quality of the data, you just did a migration, so the data that is sitting in the new system is wrong right now. And structural problems. So these are the general problems that we get, and this is how data service will address the quality concerns, right? So your data is present in the center, in the middle, and it goes through the cycle till a particular scorecard or a particular rank is met, right? So there will be a particular limits that will be set, saying that okay, till this 80% met, it has go through the cycle, or till 90% met, it has go through the cycle. So first it goes through the data assessment phase, where it quantifies the number and type of defects in the measures. It will try to identify how many type of defects are there and how many defects are there in the system. And after that, it will go and analyze the reason for this defect. So is that coming directly from the source, or is that the reason for some of the transformation I created, or some of the business rule I applied caused this error. So it will go and analyze the nature and cause of the defect in the assessment phase, and once it is done, it goes to the cleansing phase, the next phase, right? So in cleansing phase, it goes through parse, standardize, and correct. So parsing is nothing but you separate the bad data from the good data, and then it standardizes the data. It tries to normalize data values and formats according to your rules and the third-party references. You just do some lookups on the data, or you just put some standards on the data, and you try to standardize that one to make it look good. So still it is not there, then you use some back-end algorithms, and you just scrub the data in a way that you correct the data. And if it is still not up to 80% or whatever the percentage limit that you have set there, then we do an enhancement on the data, which means you append the additional information. So let us say I have to send out a courier to one of my friend in US, so I just can't send Williams, New York, USA. I have to give his street number, house number, phone number, and his apartment number, and his flat number, and all those things. I had to give the street name, or the entire address I had to give. So if that is not present, I have to enhance that with my existing data, and then the next problem once the enhancement is done is you might get into a potential duplicate mode. So what is a duplicate and what is a potential duplicate? So if you look at the record, let me give you an example. So I have a table called employee, and I have the first record as, the structure of the table is employee number, name, salary, and designation. So the first record is employee number 1000, name Samuel, salary and designation are empty. The second record is employee number is empty, the name is Samuel, and salary is 10K, and designation is manager. And the third one, I have employee number and designation, name and salary are not present. So if you look at the data, you say, hey, this is the same record repeated multiple times in different cells, but the system will not understand that. So is the reason why it is called as a potential duplicate, because the system, when you ask the system to check for a duplicate, it will take the screenshot, the image of the first row, and try to compare that with the remaining rows, right? So if you do a comparison here, all of them are different. In the example I gave, all of them are different. So we have to identify that kind of potential duplicates and consolidate them into a single record. So data services has wonderful features. It just not only identifies such potential duplicates, but it also consolidates them into a single best record, right? And again, it goes through the continuous monitoring process till your rank is met, and then it comes out of this circle. So what a data quality can do, it improves the performance. You need to make better decisions, obviously, yes. Enables a single consistency view of the entire organization, no matter how many mergers, how many acquisitions you do a quality check on the data. It gives you a single and consistent view for the entire organization. It gains the confidence in the ad hocs that you are driving, the compliance reports that you are doing. Then target your best customer and provide best services. Optimize your supply chain and reduce the cost of material. Reduce waste in mailing, in terms of resources, in terms of money, time, and all these things. So that's a little history about EIM and how and why it came into picture. Now let us talk about data services. What is data services and from when it is officially called as data services? So before Q1 of 2008, it is called as it is identified by two different names. One is data integrator and data quality. They used to be two different systems, but data services XI stands for 11. 3.0 is the official name given for EIM platform, which is being launched in Q1 2008. So it's a very recent tool, and the tool is still going under the fine-tune process. They're still chiseling it in a way that it becomes one of the best tool, and there's a lot more enhancements proposed by SAP in its roadmap to the tool, which will make it more powerful and more user-friendly, and it got a good life. So it's a recent tool, and there's another 10 years of market for data services, right? And data services is both a platform and a product. So it is a platform on which you can apply all the business rules and build a solution, or it is a product where you can directly use it to extract the data from your source and dump it onto the target. So you can use it in both ways, as a platform and as a product as well. So it is the platform upon which all the new IAM functionalities will be based. One platform and development environment to manage and administrate all the enterprise information management tools, and it is one complete solution. I can just skip this slide. Now this is how the world system looks, right? So you have an integrator system, a quality system, and two separate interfaces and two separate machines for them. So you maintain two separate repositories and two separate job servers as well. So a quick launch of DQ architecture, then the metadata integration, business rules and transformations get exchanged between both the repositories, and there is seamless exchange of data between both the systems. Now this is the new solution. It's a combined solution where you have both data integrator and data quality combined and displayed on a single screen. So now it's a one solution where you can access the data, transform the data, and cleanse the data and deliver. So if you look at the definition of ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading, it doesn't speak about cleansing, but now using data services you can extract, transform, cleanse, and deliver the data to any target. So this is again one more metrics given by Gartner in terms of functionality. So it's the first single platform tool, and it goes beyond integrated. It's one tool. So if you look at those features comparing with IBM and Informatics, so one development environment, one metadata repository management, one runtime engine, one administration environment, common connections and securities, and extraction, transformation, cleansing and loading. All these things are mostly possible with business objects, not all are possible with the other tools. So what are the best pillars? So we are talking about the tool, the functionalities, the features, and how good it is there in the market, what will be the future enhancements in all these things. Now let us talk about the pillars. So enterprise agility, it responds quickly and efficiently for the information you need. So as I am from SAP BI background, I know the pain of not having the right data in time, because if you look at the SAP system, these days there were few accelerators and all this stuff given, but you don't get the entire data that is needed by you. So if I have some data in my SAP BI system today, that is yesterday's data in the R3 system, because overnight the data load happens into the BI system. So you don't get the right information in the right time. But data services responds quickly and efficiently to the information needs. So it not only loads the data into the target system, but also it gives you the efficient information. And if you talk about the data migration projects, generally they go for 2 years or so. But data services, the biggest data migration project for one phase, if the customer is sorry, if the customer is going with multiple iterations, then that is fine. But the maximum is 1 year or 8 months, the time that is required for any data migration. So you can cut short the expenditure, you can cut short the time, you can go live pretty quickly. So enterprise agility responds quickly and efficiently to the information needed. Trusted information delivers most trusted and accurate information. Then operational excellence, it maximizes the operational efficiency with a single platform. And enterprise class, it is collaborative, complete, and yet an open solution and scalable for any project size. So it is not just less volume of data that data services will handle. It can handle any volume of data. It's just your system configs that should support. And again, it is quite flexible. It is not just limited to one particular source or one particular target. You can connect to any source and any target using data services and do the data migration. So these are the best pillars of data services. And now let us get into the first class that I generally combine with my presentation. So now let us talk. What is data services? So data services is the official name given for enterprise information management in Q1 of 2008. It is a combination of data integrator and data quality. It is a combined solution. So describe data services, benefits of data services, and the packages of data services. So definition: a powerful enterprise class data integration and data quality solution. And the purpose of this tool is provides one development environment, runtime, and management environment that allows you to integrate, transform, improve, and deliver data anywhere at any frequency. So it's a one single sign-on, single solution where it has both data integrator and quality, and also a very beautiful management administration activities or administration windows which will allow you to do a lot of work with a lot of ease, right? So there is a lot of work that we do using these administrative tools, and we can actually do that with a lot of ease. And generally in data, if you look at the data, there are two types of data: the current data and historical data. So we have two different jobs to deal with them. One is the bad job to deal with the historical data, and real-time jobs to deal with the transactional data. So this is the bird view of the project, right? You have an ERP, a CRM, and a WMS system, and you connect to all these three systems using your data services, and you do a data migration into a new data warehouse. So now if you look at this, the data that is coming in from three different systems are three different data sets: their nature, their metadata, and everything is different. But now data services connects them and combines them into a single data set and loads that into the EDW system. So this is a quick look of how your jobs will look within data services. You have everything in a graphical user interface. You have your source table, you have your target table. All you need to do is like pull in your source, the transformations, and your target,